advertising device and drawing in kids. The fact that our society does not allow kids to watch or even get near a snuff film, still minors can go out and buy snuff music anytime they want without their parents even knowing. The judge in the case, Judge E. Jeffrey Burke, dismissed the case too. I do not consider Slayer's music obscene, indecent, or harmful to minors. Even though the albums are required to carry the parental warning because of violence and sexual language, saying they're not suitable for underage kids. Her father, David, had enough. There was a whole generation of children out there that are being fed this music. It's like feeding a child a little poison every day. We're saying enough is enough. And the drummer Slayer gave an interview to Guitar War magazine. They're trying to blame the whole thing on us, when we clearly think the blame should be put on the killers only. If you're going to do something stupid like that, you should get in trouble for it. He continued to point out how the killers didn't even follow their necrophilia sacrifice rituals the band had to say detailed in their song.
Great response, Slayer. I also want to ask you, Did you just ask me on this podcast because you know that I recently was on another podcast that got a parental advisory explicit content warning smacked on it?
No, not at all. It's coincidence.
Because that happened, and I remember, I was born in 1989, so obviously kind of in the middle of the I shouldn't say, towards the end of the Satanic Panic, but, you still had Tipper Gore out there yelling at everybody, you still had, Two Live Crew in, 1992, all the explicit content stuff, so honestly getting that explicit content thing was like a badge of honor, recently, because I was like, whoa, I'm cool like everyone now. But enough about me. Interesting that this case was one of the sources for that. I wasn't aware. I knew it involved heavy metal, the devil, Satanic Panic, all that, but I did not know that this case in particular.
Yeah. The family, I understand the grief of them losing their daughter, and they want to put their anger with somewhere, but the anger should be put on the 3 kids that were caught convicted of murdering your daughter. Those are actually did it. Do not trying to blame Slayer or music or video games or something first of all, it's not true. And second of all, it's not going to see your anger or your grief on this matter. The people who did it, that's where the anger should be placed on. And they were caught, they were tried, they were convicted. And they're not going to see the light of day outside unless they're very old men after you had passed on and invalid. So that's where the anger should go. It's not on Slayer. It's not on Marilyn Manson. It's not on Wolfenstein, Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, Godfather, violent movies. It's on the people who did the actual crimes. Blaming art, media. We can have that discussion on whether this is art or not. It is art, or whether it's useful in society. That's a totally different story. But there's a First Amendment, and there's a First Amendment for a reason. And even stuff we don't like, as much as I don't like certain things, they have the right to be able to place that out. And there are consequences for that, but at the same time, you can't blame this for the murder, the Slayer for the murder of Elise Marie. So, you want to add something, Meredith?
No, I couldn't agree with any more with everything you just said. It's not in the media. Slayer is one of the most popular, well-known metal bands worldwide. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, it's just no excuse. Psychopaths are psychopaths. Psychopaths are gonna psychopath, and they'll say whatever they can. As for the family, obviously they're grieving. They'll always feel that loss. I'm not accusing anybody of being opportunistic, but sometimes money helps with that loss, because at least you don't have shit to worry about, if you have money. So I think with the Slayer thing, it's they did get justice through our, normally fuck justice system, but these killers were brought to justice. But, that obviously just wasn't enough for them, and they wanted to go further. So that's where they decided to channel their rage.
Yeah.
But yeah, once again, very interesting, because I did not know any of the I knew all the movies. I knew some of the cases. but definitely did not know all the links between them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and yeah, there's other horror movies that are out there in the lexicon, not just in this country but around the world. That's somewhat based on true stories. I mean, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Silence of the Lambs, even though it's more of a thriller than a horror movie. Ed Gein, which is partially based on Ed Gein. His murders is something we'll get to on a future episode of Weekend Weird. Other films out there. But we chose these three because mostly these are most recent. They're easy to find, even though Texas Chainsaw Massacre is really easy to find too. But how many people have talked about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
No, they're a little. The choices are definitely interesting, but they all have interesting stories behind them, and some of them even have multiple. So great choices. Yes. Great podcast. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, thanks for coming on. I totally appreciate it. Again, we're in a trying time right now, and it's hard to get people to come on a podcast with me because I highly doubt people want to listen to just my voice talk about something, put you to sleep like it.
Well, that's why I never mind co-hosting.
Yes, so thank you again. This is the anniversary. I think this was 4 years? 2017? 4 years? Yeah, 4 years.
Happy 4-year anniversary to Weekend Weird, the weirdest podcast in all of the land.
Yes, don't accept any substitutes. So 4 years. It's been a hell of a ride, and I enjoyed making this podcast, and tell more to come.
He'll never shut up.
Yep. Nope.
Ever. Trust me, I've
There's
tried.
stories still out there, and we must cover them on Weekend Weird. This show is dedicated to. I lost my dog last week. Bella, is a very sweet dog. So I'm going to miss her a lot.
Bella was a good girl.
Yeah,
rest in peace. Lola's up there with you.
Yeah.
Probably glaring at you because she was a cat that just liked to glare at people. But she's watching over you, Bella.
Yes.
In her mean way.
Yes. And so the show is dedicated to her. Also, when the show will come out, it will be exactly 5 days until Election Day. And I'm not going to tell you to vote. Everyone tells you to vote. I'm not going to tell you to vote. You do what you want to do. But if you don't vote, what are you doing to make change besides not voting? If you're just sitting in your butt, just being cynical, you're not doing anything for change. If you don't care about change, fine. But if you care about change, what are you doing besides just sitting there at home? If you're voting, ask yourself this question. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Is the world better off than it was 4 years ago? Is 200,000 people dead a reasonable number to go through a pandemic? Are children in cages and dying in those cages reasonable enough? Is your boss making 10 times more than you fine by you? Then you know the decision. If not, you know the decision you have to make. Are you okay with Nazis and crazy conspiracy theorists going out saying that because you disagree with them, you are a child molester? Is that cool with you? If you're not, you know the decision you might have to make, even begrudgingly. Meredith, you get some.
So Trump is a fascist. Biden and Harris will continue to uphold the system. It is on us to organize within our communities, vote in local elections, vote in the smallest elections, all that. We got to get them into office, but we also don't have to feed into their bullshit. We just got to get them in, and then we got to hold them accountable. But, gay people, trans people, poor people, uninsured people, black people, Latinx people, undocumented people, all sorts of marginalized people will die and have protections stripped away. Even more so, the limited protections and rights that they have, those rights will be stripped away if we get 4 more years of Trump. So as someone who has many, 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 many issues with Biden, and especially with Harris and her history with sex workers, incarcerated folks, and the trans community, I'm still pinching my nose, walking the polls, and voting the Democratic ticket, because a lot more people are going to die, and a lot more people are going to suffer under former years of Trump. And, you know, I'm a goddamn Marxist, but I'm swallowing my pride enough to vote. So no one's going to tell you to go vote, but get involved in your communities and listen to people that have different experiences than you, and let's never end up in this position again.
And again, I'm not going to tell you how to vote or if to vote, but just ask yourself those questions. Are you cool with what's going on right now? If it is, you know who you vote for. If it's not, you know who to vote for. And when you do, if you decide to vote to get the current you know who out, don't just think that's it. I'm done. No, it's more work to be done. So, and if you don't agree with me, it's like, keep your politics out of this, or like, the fuck off and stop listening to my goddamn show. Don't need you, won't miss you. Free show. Not gonna miss you. So, or you're dissing the orange guy. Fuck off. You're just as crazy as him. Get off, stop listening to my show. So, alright, that's it. That's all I have to say. Again, at the beginning of this, you heard the voting advertisement, so the choice is yours. I know what I'm going to do. Meredith knows what she's going to do. The choice is up to you. You just ask that you make the right choice. Hold your nose and vote Biden.
Feels dirty.
Oh, God. You ever want to eat in a restaurant again, you don't have to worry about, am I going to get sick after eating this goddamn salmon? Other than worry about, is the salmon undercooked or overcooked? It might get salmonella. And the only thing I have to worry about, or if I eat this steak, am I going to get salmonella and I'm going to get some freaking disease that gets in the goddamn air and kills you?
Actually, like, under Trump, they've definitely, like, repealed, like, food protection. So, like, you actually don't know if that salmon that you're eating at the restaurant is actually, like, something you should be eating or not. So,
or salmon at all.
Yeah, so more reasons to vote for Biden.
Yeah.
If voting's your thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, me too. All right, well, that was it. Hope you have a happy and safe Halloween. I know this Halloween is different. Very different. Can't be the same as. But I hope you enjoy it. Sit in your house, watch horror movies, or take some people that you know they're not sick. Drive around, try to find their haunted places. Order pizza, God knows, whatever. Try to have the safest, happiest Halloween. And most importantly, hopefully next time I talk to you, things will be starting to look different. But until then, for myself, RedNivk, today's host, Meredith.
Yes. Goodbye.
Y'all have a good night and stay weird. Because being weird is really cool. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.